Okay, so I'm coming on this video. This is just like a little legal reference of myself. Just a reminder of what I need to do. Recently, I lost my husband. He passed away on April at Jacoby Hospital. And I hate that hospital. If you in New York City, do not go to that hospital. I would recommend. I initiated an investigation into the hospital, and CMS is monitoring them until the end of the year because they made some mistakes over there with my husband, and I'm just gonna have to live with it at this point. But just a heads up, you might not want to send your really sick loved ones there because they like to make decisions for you, and that is my opinion of that dirty hospital. That's another opinion of mine. Now, moving along. I think you guys remember when I talked about T-Mal. That was like one of my very first videos that I did. So clearly I wasn't embarrassed or ashamed about having this condition because it's not something that you can get sexually. Some people are born with it and some people develop it later on in life. Unfortunately, I am, one of those people who developed it later on in life, you know? So, the more I became kind of political and speaking out against illegal immigration, a lot of Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, and a handful of their Negro minions around where I live started, attacking me, for my condition, not physically though. It's never physical. I'm not afraid. I'm not any living under any pressure. Nobody people say different things, but they can't deliver. I'm free. I walk around. I go wherever I want. Take my kids. We're about to go to Florida. As a matter of fact, we're going to Florida. We're gonna stay in a beautiful villa, and we're gonna enjoy ourselves or whatever like this. So I go pretty much where I want to go, and clearly I'm gonna have to take a flight to go there. But the stalking has ramped up, and I never really talked about the extent of the stalking. I talked about the African man that lived up underneath me or whatever, but I never really went into full details. Like this guy really literally sits in the bathroom when I'm showering. And I think the reason, he does it is because he's some type of sexual deviant or something like that. So he sits in the bathroom when I'm showering. And the reason I was able to find out that he was doing this was because he flushes constantly. And I think, he's an African dude from West Africa. And I think that they have a lot of weird things that they do. So I think that's some type of weird sexual thing or whatever, some type of obsession or whatever. And I think he feels like when he flushes, maybe he's flushing on me or something like that. That's just my synopsis. I don't know why this guy does that. And I know people would say, well, that sounds kind of crazy. And it does sound crazy because he's crazy. But what I did, I said, you know what? You could be just paranoid because you're going through a lot, right? So I said, why don't you test it? So what I did was I said, okay, I'm gonna start trying to shower at different hours so that I'm not going in the bathroom at the same times. And sure enough, every time I'm in there, coincidentally, he has to go to the bathroom. So he's in there flushing and flushing and flushing and flushing, right? So what I learned to do is if you just cut the water off, it stops the flushing. So that's what I do. So now he doesn't have the enjoyment of doing it. So he's kind of calmed down a tiny bit. He's still in there. And I mean, it's so weird because I know he's in there. I can't take a shower the way I would like to. Like I have one of those long showers where you can like move it, you can take it and adjust it around, or you can hold it in your hand, or you can hook it back up on the hook or whatever. So quite naturally, you want to, soap your body up. I'm scrubbing, and when you're scrubbing yourself, it makes you making sounds because I like to use the little scrub pads. I don't know what they call them or whatever, but it makes sounds. So I'm so paranoid that this man is listening to me. What I decided to do was like turn on the sink or have my phone or some type of device in the bathroom so I could kind of have some noise in between me, washing and not feeling like this man is in there listening to me. I also turned the lights out. That's how paranoid this man has made me because he's constantly in the bathroom with me. And not only that, he started to say things while he's in the bathroom. He's actually talking while he's in the bathroom as well to me while I'm trying to shower. So imagine how weird and violated you would feel as a woman when somebody's doing that, and I have no recourse. It doesn't matter. I went to the precinct, I talked to them, and I was like, look, if you don't do something, I'm going to do something. And they basically said, well, if you do anything, we're just going to arrest you. And that's how that was left. They really don't do anything like that in New York City as far as these, they just enhance like the stalking and harassment laws, but they really don't do anything as far as the laws goes. When it's stalking women, it's always after the woman is kind of really injured and traumatized or even dead. This is when they decide to doing things. And I'm not looking to be a dead or a victim. I'm definitely going to defend myself. I'm all for women defending themselves, taking self-defense, doing whatever you have to do to protect yourself, because the men, especially in my city, are super weird. They become very obsessive and stalkerish in the city, very much so. But these Dominicans and Puerto Rican people decided that we're gonna exploit her medical condition as a means of getting, her to be quiet and stop commenting. And I don't really make videos anymore or whatever, but I will be on a site where there's a lot of people who really disagree with illegal immigration. And so somehow somebody is tracking me or whatever, and they're able to see what I'm writing. They're following me all over social media, watching everything I write, following me as well as when I go out. So they have a whole little network to stalk me, these Dominicans and Puerto Ricans or whatever. And they're mad because I talk about illegal immigration. I don't know why Puerto Ricans got into it, because they're kind of like part of America, but I really don't give a fuck because they're going to get dragged too. I'm tired of these fucking pieces of shit messing with me, and that's real talk. I'm tired of these dummies. They don't really want to get confrontational. They just want to have the freedom to like kind of stalk me on a low. So much so, these bastards have made a song. They actually have a song about me. And the radio stations are playing. And let me tell you, I'm so inspired by people, filing lawsuits and countersuing on YouTube. I'm watching a lot of this as I'm building my new business or whatever. I'm watching a lot of you guys, and I see that people are fighting back, and people getting sued or whatever. But it's inspiring me. And what I decided to do was to get an attorney so I can sue these radio stations, these Latin radio stations that are playing this music and hosting conversations about me. And I'm also going to find someone, I don't know what the correct term is for this type of person, but some sort of internet investigator where they could pretty much find these sites and where they're posting this music and potentially finding the writer of the song. So I could definitely slap a lawsuit on his ass as well, and a harassment charge, because they will, ride by my house. Even when I was out, walking a couple of times, I just, they would ride by me and I would just hear that song. And so I'm like, okay, they're intentionally tracking me and following me and playing that song. And how I knew this, I picked up my phone. I just kind of eased my cell phone out of my bag without trying to alert the driver, because he was just like riding alongside of me. So I was thinking about, but never mind. Let me not even say that and put myself in any type of trouble. But I eased out my cell phone, and I put it on record, and I just turned around real fast and I put the camera on him, and he almost killed himself in traffic trying to swerve and avoid me getting his image and his license plate. He swerved in front of some cars, and I mean, he was like, "Arr, arr." You know how the noise, the skirting noise is when the screeching noise of a tire. Okay, and he did that like in between two cars, like he could have really hurt somebody else and hurt himself. I would have hoped that he hurt himself because he had no business trolling me and harassing me. These are supposed to be men, and it's predominantly men that are doing this. Their little raggedy holes don't really bother me. I'm not any type of competition with them or whatever. And That just is what it is. But these men are constantly stalking me, and trying to use this, use my illness and exploit my illness as a way to oppress me from speaking. But it's not gonna work because, like I said, T-Mal is not gonna stop me from talking. You even had YouTubers. You hear a lot of people talk about pH balance and stuff like that. Well, that's directed at me because a lot of them know. And a lot of people think it's funny. And I would advise you to watch yourself because I'm going after them. I don't want to have to go after you. But you keep it up because it's really not that hard to prove when people keep constantly doing it and they really don't have any background in, um gynecology or medical health or anything like that. They're just constantly doing it to try to antagonize myself and maybe some other individuals who have opened up about having T-Mal online. But you're idiots, and it really doesn't matter what you say. My life is gonna be good, regardless to what a handful of YouTubers and definitely some dusty Dominicans and Puerto Ricans have to say. But what I wanted to take the time out to do because I know they're gonna watch this, right? Because they're such fucking stalkers and they really don't have anything else to do. They claim that these people come to New York City to work hard and do this, but New York is bankrupt. We have no money and we are on the brink of falling apart. Thanks to the buses that are coming in. And I don't blame the conservatives because a lot of these Democrats love to talk about let the migrants in and this is racist and this is that. And then when they start sending them their way, what are they doing? They're crying, complaining, calling National Guard, thinking about moving, trying to figure out where they can move them and how they can shift them around to keep from having the responsibility on them. Meanwhile, advocating for illegal migrants, for everybody else, calling the conservative states because they don't want to take them. They're calling them racist, but they don't want to take them either. Okay, and they're busted. They're busted. But I just wanted to go over this because I did a video a long time ago. I think I took it down or whatever, but I was telling black people, go ahead and keep giving everything away, you know. Keep thinking about everybody else. Keep voting Democrat while they put everybody before you, and you'll have nothing. You'll be butt naked on the street. So I think that's kind of happening now. And maybe that's what people want, and I don't know. I really don't know. So here's what I wanted to do. Just bring up a couple of things here. Where is it? Right. Okay, so now with this increase of migrants coming in, a lot of homeless American citizens are being displaced. They're being told they don't have beds, even when they have beds, because those beds are going to potentially go to the migrants that aren't placed in these fancy hotels, right? And we're paying for this, even though a lot of us said we didn't want this to happen here, but we're paying for it nonetheless. And this is a reminder of when you don't stand up and defend yourself, defend your status, defend other citizens in the country. This is the type of stuff that can happen. And it's going to cost us a lot of money. And we're going to be in a huge hole in New York City, right? While they cater to people. And I really do, my heart does go out to the Venezuelan people because they were running from socialism. It's horrible there. There's a hospital that's online that's floating around. If you look at it, it looks more like a hostel than a hospital. There's blood on the walls, there's feces, urine, they don't have running water. They're like recycling um IV bags or like sharing IV bags with between like the one or two patients or whoever's in there. They're, like giving them half of the IV, taking the IV, using that because they don't have anything and they're just trying to do what they can. And believe me, those people are gonna be worse off than when they came in because there's no cleaning supplies there and the walls are dirty. So they are going to contract all type of infections in this place. So I do feel sorry for the Venezuelan people as well as the Ukrainian people who were running at one time because these are people who are actually really suffering. A lot of these other people are just coming to New York and coming to these other places and breaking in, to this town and that border town for benefits. They're not really running from everybody's not running from everything. Everybody is not being raped and assaulted as they're saying, but they know if they use these stories, they will get sympathy. Meanwhile, you have, I don't know how many homeless people that we have. Let me see. No, I don't want to give an incorrect number and downsize the amount of homeless people, so I'm not going to do that. But there's a lot of homeless American citizens. We have homeless veterans. We have people with mental illness, thanks to de Blasio and his wife screwing up the money that they were supposed to put into that program. I think it was called Strive. That was supposed to be for the mentally ill that are homeless or whatever, and they squandered that money. We don't know where the money went, but all of a sudden, Bill de Blasio was talking about buying a block. He's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna buy this lot, but I don't know where would he get all this money from to buy the block, because he was never announced to us as being some type of millionaire or some type of inheritance baby or something like that. So we really didn't know much about his finances, but we do know that they squandered over um $15 million, and his wife came out and said she don't know. They misspent the money, or it was a miscalculation. But yet the homeless, that's when a burst of homelessness just started happening more and more and more and more. On top of the small amount of homeless people that we were dealing with, we got thousands after that. And they're all over the place or whatever, thanks to them. But yeah. Meanwhile, while you're battling homelessness and black people are involved in that, the other night I was watching the news and there was a line of Negro Americans, and they were just told like, hey, we ran out of beds and you could sleep on the floor. A dirty floor, rat droppings, mice droppings, just dirty. And that's where they were forced to sleep. It's either that or sleep on the streets. And it's very dangerous in New York City. So a lot of homeless are kind of fearful of being directly on the streets. That's why they were going to subways and different things like that, because we've had people setting homeless people on fire, going up to homeless people and just stabbing them to death. We had a lot of stuff going on here in the city. So I don't know. I can imagine a lot of them are pretty scared or whatever. But meanwhile, here's the Waldorf Astoria, very prestigious hotel in New York City. 6,000 beds went to the illegal migrants, and we're going to pay for that. I'm paying $100 a week. I don't get food stamps. I don't have Medicaid. I don't get welfare. And I'm paying $100 a week for less than 25 items, to sustain my family. I have to shop every week. And that's what I have to, manage with $100 or whatever out of my salary, because I have other bills that I have to pay. And fortunately, we're able to survive. My kids are in college. They have their own little change or whatever, but still in all, I have to feed my kids, and myself, because I have to go to my little job, and so you need food to sustain yourself, to move and function, and just be a regular person. You need substance, and it's very expensive just to eat. Mind you, the rent is going up, and Con Edison has went up, and it's just a lot of things going on. And this is just an expense I personally don't need. And I know a lot of other New Yorkers don't need it. So this is why we advocate, online, or we just maybe not even advocating, just we're just having conversations online. And these people are very pressed and upset about that. So they ramped up the exploitation of me having T-Mal all over the place. So this is the topic, right? And they also keep saying, she has no diplomacy, her diplomacy, but I don't owe them shit. I don't owe them no sympathy, compassion, or diplomacy. I don't owe you anything. I don't know why these dirty bastards think I owe them something. And, I don't know why they continue to stalk and harass, even when they're getting nowhere, but they continue to do it. And it doesn't matter. So let's go. First of all, I want to talk about the Dominican Republic, because I talked about them before, putting Haitians out of their country as far back as 1929. So I got threats behind that. They was like, yeah, you better not come here. We're gonna cut you up and put you in the Batillas. We're gonna cut you up and put you, where we put the Haitians at and all stuff. So they were making all type of things. I don't give a damn, because what the hell would I go there for? I'm not looking to sexually exploit anybody. I'm not gay. I'm a straight woman. So I'm not looking to go there to sexually exploit anybody. So what would I be going there for? It's a small, tiny little island that I'm not interested in. You got 750,000 of the people here. They riding dirt bikes on sidewalks, drug trafficking and doing other things. So what the hell do I need to go there for? I know that they don't like black people because they put all those people out of their country based on skin tone. If you just so happen to be a Haitian with Dominican descent and you're of a light complexion, like this woman, for instance, right here, if you look like this, you're good. You'll even get jobs in the factories and stuff. What little jobs they have, you'll get because they go by skin tone in that country. The darker your skin tone is, the worse of the treatment. Okay. And I just kind of exposed that. And I was mad because they were over here, yelling and talking about get people out of the country or whatever. Like, so it pissed me off. So I decided to do a video about it. I didn't like it. You're over here in our country, 750,000 illegals who they are trying to right now push them through to vote, which is totally wrong because they vote at home. And that would mean, they have dual voting power. And that's something that Americans should actually be in fear of. You don't want a person who's voting in the other country and not here legally voting here as well. That can be a danger. Okay. So since they wanted to try to exploit my sickness, I just want to bring about because they don't seem to realize that we are in the world of information right about now. And it's so easy to just pull up things about people from different countries or whatever like that. So very easy. So here, this is the shitstosomiasis. Schistosomiasis. It's a disease that people get from drinking water and breathing in contaminants or whatever like that, and it causes them to shit on themselves, and have stomach pains or whatever. So they're battling that probably in the Dominica, which they hate to see. If you ever tell a Dominican person, "Oh, you from Dominica?" Watch how mad they get. Ask them are they from the Dominica. They get mad because that is the most sewer dwelling sewer smelling, dilapidated part of the Dominican Republic, Dominica. And they hate that shit. They don't like anybody to talk about that place. So you want to piss one of them off, ask them if they came from Dominica. Okay. While they out here trying to exploit. So that's the number one disease that they are battling over there. So I don't know why they have time to try to exploit. You never see these people advocating for anything better for the people in the Dominican Republic. They're only here worrying about themselves, talking about Black Americans, trying to compete with Black Americans for some reason and all this other bullshit. And stalking Black Americans, because that's basically what they're doing to me, stalking and trying to exploit, because I'm down for Trump and they are very fearful that he may come back or there might be a potential possibility that if the conservatives take over, that they may empower ICE. And if they do it, they're just going to come in. There'll be nothing that these people will be able to do to stop it this time because now they will have full power to move right ahead. And they can just kind of go around Biden or they can just circle him in and he won't have any power really. And I'm hoping that that's what happens. But they're afraid of that, and they hate to see us talking about it. But I know that they aren't stalking white people. They will never stalk white people and harass white people for talking about. Not that I want them to, or I feel like they should, but they won't go up against them. But they'll go up against somebody who they feel is an easy target and try to exploit me. But I'm really not an easy target, and the lawsuits are coming. Like I said, lawsuits are coming for you pieces of shit and you fucking dirty Latin radio stations that host conversations and continue to play this song. You'll be dealt with soon enough. Number two, HIV/AIDS. So I guess they're running over here and want to be over here too for the DeVito. But we'll see in 5 or 10 years if that's really effective. And I hope nobody is taking that and just being loose sexually. I hope that if you are HIV positive, that you are still using protection. If you decide to have intercourse with anyone, I hope that you're still covering yourself because the worst thing you could do is just 100% trust something, a drug that you really don't know about after constantly seeing so many of these drugs being sued 5 and 10 years later after they come out. Okay, and we all see the commercials. You took this drug, call this law firm. Did you take this? You feel like this? Call this law firm. And this is going on like every year, new drug. is being put up. So, we let's see what happens with DeVito. But I would encourage people to protect themselves, and they definitely need it over there because a lot of people have HIV. They are heavy into prostitution, and sexually allowing people to sexually exploit them. They're okay with that. That's actually a way of life, and it's called sex tourism. And you have a lot of people from different states and countries that go there to just to have sex with young girls. The younger, the better. They go over there, they get two, three, four at a time because it's like 20, 10. I heard guys say $20 or something like that. They can get like, or whatever they're getting for like 20 bucks. They can be serviced or whatever. And that's sad because I mean, really, I don't know how far you could get with $20, but I guess that's a lot. And they also will put the pressure on their young daughters to go out and, feed the family. Something I could never do. I could never put pressure on any of my daughters or my son to go out and kind of, go out and prostitute yourself, and you got to take care of the family and stuff like that. When it's my responsibility, myself, and rest in peace, it was my husband's responsibility to take care of our family. So while I'm dealing with the loss of my husband, Divine, I did a video with him on here and everything just to kind of, help him out a little bit with something he was struggling with. And, he's no longer here or whatever. And a lot of these people know that, and they thought, I guess, they could drill and it was kind of going to break me down, but it didn't. So now, they're trying to do everything they can to try to attack my character. Who knows what they're doing with my images and what they have online, but I'm definitely going to find somebody to take care of that. So yeah, HIV is rampant in the Dominican Republic. I don't know why they sit around and talk about anybody else when you have something like schistosomiasis and HIV running rampantly through. We don't know how many of them are here that are HIV positive. I don't need to know. I don't care. I'm not trying to like disrespect people with HIV or whatever, but I didn't do anything to get T-Mal. I didn't live a high risk lifestyle or something like that. And it's not a sexually transmitted disease. It's not something you could get sexually, but meanwhile, while they're trying to exploit me, here they are with the HIV. And also they have malaria really bad in the Dominican Republic. And maybe Americans shouldn't go there because you don't want these type of diseases, because you can die from malaria. You can definitely die. A lot of people survive, but they were like on the brink of death, and I'm quite sure they felt like that's a horrible fucking disease. It really is. And they have a lot of them, in DR. This is just the top three that ails them over here. And you never see these people advocating over here for health and wellness and, help for their people to try to alleviate these diseases. Okay, but what they will do is come over here and try to exploit um, other people's problems, to make themselves look big, but you're not going to win at all. Disgusting ass trash. Now let's go over here. Let's look at this right here. Here's what Puerto Rico opted to do. It says Puerto Rico exports its addicts to Chicago. So now Chicago, we all know, is beautiful city, beautiful place, and you have people there with all type of issues and problems. You have the Black community that are there, and they're, some of them are fighting and battling their way out of poverty, trying to keep themselves out of gangs, trying to protect their lives as they just go through their normal daily functions. And now, on top of the little addicts that they already have out there and all of the issues that they're already battling, Puerto Rico opts to send their heroin addicts out there. This is a heroin addict. You see the arm and everything, that's a heroin addict. And these people are not going to be, how do you say that? Prosperous people in society. They're not coming to build, they're not coming to add on anything. And if anything, they're coming here to use more drugs, and this is not a good thing for the communities. And they're going to dump them exactly where Negro Americans are. They're not going to dump them in the white areas where the Jewish people are. They're going to dump them right where Negroes are. And that's going to decrease funding that's supposed to go to Negro Americans. Your funding is going to go to them now. This is what's going to happen all over these cities that these people are being bussed into. You're going to see that resources for programs for low income people, people in urban housing developments, And people just, you know, working poor and stuff like that who rely on certain assistance or whatever, you know, you're doing, you're going to see that that is going to start to decrease in large numbers, and it's going to be shifted and given to these people who have no ties to the country, don't care about the country, don't love the country, don't spend their money in the country. You know, they might spend a few dollars, but they often you'll see that they're sending money back home. The majority of their money gets sent back home. Okay. So this is what the Puerto Ricans are doing. They also have a high HIV rate, right? Over there. And you know, mind you, I'm going through all of this stuff, right? I got these men constantly stalking, harassing me, the African dude in the shower, and I'm going through all this. And mind you, I just lost my husband in April. So I'm doing my best to be the matriarch of the family, keep my kids together. You know, we talk, we have conversations, we do things together, we have a good time. We had a good summer. You know, we was able to get out and enjoy ourselves or whatever. We're not lacking for anything except him. You know, we miss him dearly. I have a 21-year-old son who's autistic. I never mentioned that before because I see how dirty a lot of YouTubers are and how they were attacking, you know, people with special needs kids and saying discussing things about them. And I just don't have the type of temperament to stand that. So, you know, I didn't talk about my son, but I'm not ashamed of him or anything. And I don't put my kids on camera because I wouldn't want to put them at risk. I'm not ashamed of my kids. I love all my kids. They're beautiful. My son is very handsome, tall, striking, very kind-hearted, very sweet young man. His father was in his life from the day he was born to the day he couldn't be anymore. He's in all his children's lives. Beautiful man, a loyal Negro man, a rare Negro man because he was loyal. He supported his family. He protected his family. You know, he was always there, always, he would, you know, sacrifice things from him for himself. Like he wouldn't do certain things or buy certain things from himself just so we could have. He was in local three, he was an electrician for 13 years, and then, you know, he started to get sick. But before he got sick, what happened was Bloomberg came in with the HB1 visas. And so that's how we got a double influx of these people, and they work cheap. And he's making $39 an hour plus benefits, holiday pay. You know, if you know anything about the unions, you know anything about local three, you know, once you're in and it's good. You know, it was good then. I don't know about today because there's so much competition from cheap labor. So I don't know how, you know, the guys are really hanging in now. But, you know, I know that when my husband, we were on our way into middle class, you know, but then when they came in, they started sacking them. And the black men are always the first to get sacked. So he would work a week, then they would lay him off, then he worked 2 weeks, lay him off, and worked 3 days, and he just got frustrated. The last job he did, he was like, "This is it." He was like, I'm not going back no more because I'm tired of this." He was like, "I need consistent work, and I just can't do this no more." You know, so he got sicker actually, as he was not out working and stuff like that. You know, the sickness started to tick up. He ended up with in the fourth stage of renal disease. And you know, he was on dialysis, he's a diabetic, hypertension, you name it. The guy was really suffering a lot or whatever. But even after that, he managed to work for the Board of Elections for a couple of years or whatever, because he was a working man. He loved to work. You know, he loved to work and make his family happy or whatever. And may he rest in peace, beautiful man, or whatever. But I'm going through all of that. And meanwhile, these people are making songs, like I said, disgusting song about me and hosting conversations on radio stations about me because I'm getting in their ass and they don't like what I said about, you know, them being illegal or whatever like that or whatever and trying to exploit that. But meanwhile, let's get back to what the hell these people are doing over here. Uh, the Puerto Ricans. So we know the Puerto Ricans. We talked about the Dominicans over there and their diseases that they don't talk about. And we talked about the heroin addicts, right? We just saw that. Now look, there's this big push to do this right here. New York sex workers are working to decriminalize their trade. You see who's here though. You even got old broads still trying to slay that kuka around and get some money off of that trash box. But they don't talk about their trash box holes and the type of diseases that they have What they want to do is just make this okay. And what I want to know, right? They're going after people who do blogs, people who do videos, and people who do TikTok and stuff like that. They're amping up IRS and all this stuff so they could attack your Cash App. They want to know what's in there, what you're doing, so they could tax you. But how about these bitches? They get money, cash straight up. So is the IRS going now round these hoes up and go through their rummage through their pocketbooks and stuff and take what they feel like the IRS is owed? Or do they get to get out here, slay their cougars all over the place, those nasty trash box cougars all over the place, and there's no repercussion for that. But a person who is trying to educate people, or people just want to entertain people or whatever, and they're earning a little bit of money, they're the targets, but not these tramps. And you see who's advocating for it. This is why Ocasio was like, sex work is work. Sex work is work. She was advocating for this because she knows like they're used to being sexually exploited in their countries. It's unfortunate that a lot of women are sex trafficked, and I'm not talking about the ones who are forced into it, but these are willing participants here. Willing participants here who are willingly putting their, vaginas out there for $20, you know. So hopefully the IRS is going to go after them the same way they're going after your cash apps. I was going over the story. I found it very funny. I'm not going to read all of it, just a little snippet of it. I found it so funny though. It's like how dumb these chicks are, right? They think you're dumb. So it says, I was walking with my boyfriend, she said, and then undercover police car stopped in front of us, and the officers pushed me to the ground and take my purse. They searched my purse, they found condoms, and they used that as evidence of prostitution. Even when they was arresting me, my boyfriend told them we are in a relationship and they don't care. They said to him, you have to go or you'll be arrested. They should have arrested him too. That night, I wasn't doing sex work, Garcia said, while her boyfriend searched for her at the 110th precinct. She was locked up in another jail or whatever, and blah, 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 blah. But listen here, I don't know. I've never heard a man's, reference a prostitute as being his girlfriend. I don't know men who claim prostitutes as their girlfriends, and why would you want a prostitute for a girlfriend? So clearly she was lying. The guy probably frequent her or used her services often. But you see how they would just make up shit just to try to get themselves out of trouble? It's make up shit. But these are the women that are advocating, the Puerto Ricans, and I think this woman is probably El Salvadorian or Mexican or whatever. They are advocating, and look at the man right there. See him? Look at them. You don't see any black women in there. That's them advocating for sex work. They are fine with doing sex work for some reason. They don't see that as being um unmodernizing the woman. Like we women have come so far or whatever. There was a time when women didn't have anything to do but sell, vagina because, you couldn't get a job, you couldn't work, and if you weren't married, you had no means to support yourself. So, in those circumstances, maybe it's understandable. But today, where you could get an education, you could start a business, you can, do whatever legally and, healthy. You could do things that are uplifting. They don't want to do that. They much rather lay on their backs and get money. And these are the people that are talking about me. Hoe ass bitches and people that want to sex traffic and people who want to use heroin and people who want, who already are inflicted with diseases are trying to exploit my sickness so that they can oppress me, but I'm not allowing it, and I'm coming for you. So this is why I came on here to kind of try to remind them that you got your own issues that you need to worry about. And trust me, HIV is going to spike back up in this city as long as they condone and shit like this. Sex work should not be encouraged. We have young girls who are very impressionable in the city. We shouldn't encourage this type of fucking behavior. We should denounce it and abolish it. We should tell women that you are smarter, stronger, and wiser, and you don't have to lay down on your back to survive. I thought that's where we were. I thought that's what the feminist movement was about. Are the feminists supporting this? Laying on your back for a man, letting him huff and puff on top of you for a little $20, $30? You're going to have to do that all day and night to pay your bills here in New York. I don't think feminists are advocating for this shit because it's a kick down. It's not a come up, it's a kick down. It's really literally saying, damn, I can't do anything at all but sell my box to survive. I'm so sick of the double standard in this city. Some people get protected, some people don't. Some people be prosecuted, some people won't, and I'm tired of the double standard. We just saw Cardi B. She went and gave $100,000 to her school, to a school that she went to, or whatever. And no doubt that was to help her evade um any consequences of what she did to those two beautiful young sisters who her man wanted to sexually exploit. So instead of taking it out on him and just keeping that private and dealing with them, she opted to use gang members to attack these beautiful two young ladies. They can't help the way they look and if men are attracted to them. Nobody can. If men are attracted to you, you can't help that. And nobody has the right to try to physically attack you because their man wants to sleep with you. But she got away with that. And I know those girls are traumatized. I'm hoping that they sue for a couple of $1 million. She pled guilty. So the civil suit should definitely go on and they should sue if they lost wages. They should sue for any stress or duress they were under, any PTSD they may be feeling, because it wasn't that was the second attempt. The first time it was outside of that place where they approached them. So there were two attempts to get these girls. It wasn't just the what we saw in the video. The other attempt we didn't see, but that information is on social media. There were two instances and she's gonna get away with it. She was able to pay her way out. And they get certain privileges in the city. They get a lot of privileges. They're riding, I'm telling you, they all up and down on the sidewalks with dirt bikes. They feel like they don't have to abide by any of the laws in this country. They don't respect this country. They feel entitlement to be here, but they don't respect the laws. You got fentanyl coming in, you got this stuff coming, and where you think it's coming from? They spent years, and I'm not even trying to be in defense of black men because they can defend themselves. I don't have time for that. But they spent years railroading black men in for drugs, but not focusing on that border and not focusing on the Dominicans and Puerto Ricans who also traffic drugs heavy. And a lot of them are allowed to use that money, to buy homes and start little businesses and stuff like that. And they are able to evade taxes and investigation by the FBI. But I've seen forfeitures in the projects of cribs, strollers, toys, clothes, petty shit. I've seen them walk out of projects with bunk beds, headboards, whatever, stereos. Meanwhile, these people have major cash, major cash that they're able to, just get by and use, and nobody's investigating them. Nobody is, placing forfeitures on their properties or anything like that. They just get to keep their drug money. And they're bringing it in. Actually, there was an article about how Dominicans, a lot of them are entering Puerto Rico, and that's been going on for a long time now. They've been going over to Puerto Rico, and then there's some video footage, and there's a couple of articles out stating how they're trafficking drugs into Puerto Rico. Okay. And inevitably, some of those drugs will spill over into America because they have their people here and they know how to get it here. So your children can be on fentanyl and sniffing coke and putting needles in their arms, while they look at the blacks. And I'm not trying to excuse them for I would never excuse nobody for their bad behavior. It's not okay to sell it either, but they get it packaged, stomped on, or whatever. These people cultivate it, grow it, cultivate it, take it, break it down from its natural form to turn it into a drug. And they're doing that in their countries. And then they do that and then they package it and then they bring it over and then it ends up in the hands of a black person. A black man selling drugs will always have a Latin connect. And if his connect is just so happens to be a black person, that black person that their connect is connected to a Latin. So for years, especially in New York City, and I know in Chicago, Detroit, and other places, for years, these black men were been held accountable, for drug dealing and they destroying the community and doing all this and that. But meanwhile, the people that are bringing it in are right there profiting, and nobody has nothing to say. Okay, and I'm going to continue to speak out. And like I said, lawsuits will be filed because I had to deal with that with my husband. They call themselves burning candles for my husband, but meanwhile, it's like they were like the young people are doing, like they were trying to smoke on my husband or something like that because they were down there disrespecting me while the candles were burning. So what I did is I went downstairs and I took the candles up. I took all that shit up and got it the fuck up out of there. I gave it to the super and told him, do what thy wilt with this shit, but do not put it back out there. I don't like these people. I don't respect these people. I don't socialize, engage. I'm not out here like, hey, Popeye, what's going on, Popeye? You want to date and all of that? I'm not out here talking to the Popeyes and whatever the fuck they be saying or what. I'm not out here doing none of that with these people. I don't like them. Like I said, they are very disrespectful, disgusting, um, very racist. They feel like they could talk to black women, especially. We get it the worst. Like when you dealing with them, they will talk to you any kind of way, and you have to, deal with them or whatever. I always deal with them. I'm never gonna sit there and let them disrespect me. A lot of their bitches are jealous of black women for some reason or whatever. They always feel like there's some competition, but there is none because we don't be chasing after Puerto Rican men or Dominican men. You don't see black women trying to put themselves in spaces where Puerto Ricans and Dominican men are. I really think that they're not attracted to them like that. You might have one or two that look good or whatever, but and they kind of greasy and whatever, like this, like this. I don't know. We just not attracted to them like that. I'm not saying that we aren't attracted to other ethnicities, but those two, don't, seem to be it. I think, a lot of Cubans, I've noticed that a lot of black women will, kind of mess with a Cuban guy, especially a darker skin one. I think that reminds them of being with a black man or something in their minds or whatever. But I noticed that they will kind of like deal with with like Cuban men. Like that seems to be the attraction or whatever like that. There was this little Puerto Rican and black phase going on, but that kind of died out in the 90s or whatever. And everybody kind of went back to their mutual corners or whatever. But I'm tired of these people, they're disgusting. And just imagine yourself, you just buried your husband, you got a child with special needs. He's getting ready to transition. My son actually, he's 21, and he actually has a resume already, a working resume, even more so than a lot of these pieces of shit out here. You got these pieces of shit who sit in a chair and hold up a cardboard every day, and they feel like that's doing a job. You know, for the broken, you need your car window fixed, whatever that, whatever. And my son has actually put in real work, or whatever. Went to the best schools. I'm not gonna name the schools, but my son went to the top schools in New York. The top. I'm not playing. I didn't play with my kids, and They don't care. There's a school in my area, it's failing. And before that, even I think I talked about it before. It was myself and another black sister who got security. You got all these Latino women over here who send their kids to school every day, and those kids were jumping on each other, beating on each other, fighting on, whatever. And it wasn't to the point where my daughter and her daughter were kind of threatened. And then we were like, oh no, hell no. So we went over there, we got that principal fired because she wasn't about shit at all. She actually sat there. The way we were able to get her fired is because she was actually sitting there trying to talk to us using Ebonics. She was like, yeah, girl, we squashed it. And, out of character, like she was really talking like that. And that's not how this woman speaks. And we were just looking at each other in shock and awe. And she was like, yeah, because I really squashed it and whatever. Just really talking to us like we wouldn't be able to understand her if she spoke to us in an educated manner. So we got that bitch out of there and we got security in the school. Two black women did that. Black women are powerful. Just two. Just two of us changed everything. Now, today, when the kids come out, it's a totally different experience. They just coming out, talking or whatever, laughing with their friends. It's nothing like it was before we stepped in. Two Negro. I gotta stop saying black. It's just a habit. But two Negro American women stepped in and did that. None of the Spanish women did anything. They were content with the kids just fighting or whatever. They didn't care. You had men over here trying to holler. It's a junior high school. It only goes up to eighth grade. You had grown ass men out here hollering at these young girls, telling them that their titties look big and saying shit like that to them. And to anonymously, somebody got them off that corner. Okay. So, these people don't do shit. In the area I am, they don't do shit but get shelters built around them. They don't advocate for anything in the community. And they're constantly trying to exploit and oppress me to stop me from speaking out against illegal immigration because I'm a threat. I've been told I was a threat to their community and that they don't like the things that I'm saying online or whatever like that. So that was another verification that they were stalking me yet again online, following what I'm saying online. And I suspect that they've been doing that since I put those videos out about the Dominican Republic, the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans. Because it really doesn't matter the Puerto Rican, Dominican. I'm a Negro American. I'm not them. So they'll team up to target a Negro American despite their differences because they see themselves as being more of the same or whatever. But this is what I've been going through with them. And by no means am I saying like every Puerto Rican, because you have conservative Puerto Ricans who, don't like none of this shit that's going on or whatever. And I'm not trying to say it's all of them, but I'm just talking about the community of New York. These dirty bastards in this city. Other states, people are probably wonderful, who knows? But in this state, you got some of the lowest forms of fucking individuals living in this city. And the men are extremely disgusting. You see why the statistics of death is so high in these Latin countries or whatever. I see it because they're extremely disrespectful to women. They talk to these chicks however they want. They'll smack them around, beat them around. And if they dare try to leave them, please. If they dare try to leave them, they toe tag them. So, black women ain't the only one. Negro women aren't the only one out here being murdered. They are too. They just keep it on the low. But I'm not gonna stop talking about you on that site that I'm on. You can keep. I want you to keep playing that song. I want you to keep playing it. I want the radio stations to keep playing it because the more you play it, the higher the dollar amount that I will seek. As for these pieces of garbage around here, that's just what they are. They ain't doing shit but hanging around other people's businesses, talking shit. The Arabs are actually winning as far as these smoke shops and stuff go, while the dumb Negroes sit around still trying to do hand to hand and black market weed. The Arabs are actually kicking their ass. Not only are they taking over the quote unquote what used to be considered a bodega or whatever, they're taking those over and they are building up smoke shops all over the place. So I think they have drawn their line in the sand in New York City as to say, we're gonna dominate. We're gonna be the ones to kind of dominate here in this city, as far as that goes. And we know, the Europeans have their own, network, so they're gonna do just fine. They're gonna do just fine. But the Negroes are gonna lose once again, and that's their own fault because they advocate for these people who bring shit like this here. And I'm strictly restricting all this commentary to these people that are in New York, the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans of New York City. I'm not spreading it around to Jersey, Connecticut. I don't, I'm sticking to these people right here because they're the ones who stalking and trying to exploit my medical condition when they have horrible, horrible shit going on and horrible shit that they're bringing over here. you know, Taking money out of poor communities. And what did I tell Black people? Didn't I tell you they were going to dump them right where you are? Look at what happened in Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard, uh, I think within a couple of days, probably in a matter of hours, they had the National Guard. They had the National Guard come out and deport, remove the illegal aliens up out of Martha's Vineyard. Whatever. They want to protect it. They want to vote Democrat too, but they want to, you know, keep their stuff protected. But Black people, we don't have no protection. We don't have no say so. They just keep dumping them where we are. And like I said, that funding is going to shift from you to them. So these people are terrified of a red wave. They're horrified of a red wave because it's going to put them, back, and where they belong, and they're going to have to do stuff legally. It's going to be demanded that they do stuff legally. It's going to be demanded that they have certain resources and things before they walk in the door so that they are not a burden to our system, because our system, whether it's the homeless shelters, whether it's welfare, Medicaid, that's another thing. That's what I forgot to put up. But whether it's welfare and Medicaid or things like that, um, those resources are for our American citizens, not for people coming into the country. They're supposed to be able to show proof of support or have a sponsor that can support them. They're not supposed to be on benefits. And for years, um, I don't even have to do it. You could go to NYC's website and you can look, or you could type in your address bar, does NYC provide welfare, or can illegal, undocumented people receive welfare in NYC? And it'll take you to nyc.gov, and you'll see right there where they're like, yes, it doesn't matter if you're documented, undocumented, we will give you benefits, and we will help you find all the benefits that you're, qualify for. So for years they were running around talking about, we don't get no benefits, we don't get no assistance. And I was on Twitter and I pulled that up, and that caused hostility because I'm busting them. You saying you don't do this? You saying you do that? I'm just coming out left and right. I was killing them on Twitter with my first account. I was really going at them or whatever because I'm tired of illegal immigration. Like I'm really tired of it. They shut down, our food, what I'm saying? Our choice of food gets shut down, and you left with all this chicken and rice, and you want soul food, and you have to go way across town to get that. Way across town. There's a good, nice soul food restaurant, but the problem is where it's located at. You have bloods battling each other. You got two sets of bloods. You got the bloods from Bronx River and the bloods from Sedgwick. battling each other. So it's not, it's kind of like a hot area. I don't really want to be over there because God forbid, I don't want to get caught up in the Bronx River Sedgwick battle, so I don't go over there, so I have to make my own soul food, or you got to go to Manhattan. And sometimes you just want something to eat. You just want to go grab something to eat. And I would like some red rice and beans and some baked chicken with collard greens and some mac and little potatoes. I just want that. And I just want to dash and get it and get back to work. But you can't do that, because they have gentrified our business. They won't eat in our restaurants. And I hate when I see Black people walking up into their restaurant because they will not support your restaurants. They will not support your restaurants. If they see another Latin going into a Black restaurant, they're gonna grab them. What you doing going in there? You crazy? Why you going to eat in there? They make it their business not to do anything to support anything. And they're now, oh my God, what they're trying to do now is take over hip hop. The Puerto Ricans are trying to say that they 50-50 created hip hop. You got Fat Joe out here. And didn't I say that? They'll be trying to take your shit. We be giving your shit to them, and here it is. They know damn well they didn't create no hip. I could take you back to Hambo. Look up the Hambone song. I could take you back to so many, Negro American people's rhyming, and rapping, rhyming or rapping from way back before the Puerto Ricans even got here. Puerto Ricans didn't arrive in New York City to like what in the 70s sometime. They arrived here then, and when they arrived here, they were like and all these colors and stuff. They used to send their daughters out with like little ballroom dresses on to play in the park. And we'd be like, wow, why you dressed like you going to church? You know what I mean? Like we didn't understand why they would have on these, we would wear those to church in like Easter Sunday dresses, Sunday school dresses. They would send them outside like that, just regular. And it was just weird to us. It was like, how you gonna play in the park? And like I don't know. It was just kind of weird. And they were wearing all these colors and tight pants. They were nowhere in sync in New York with what we were doing. So what they did was they watched us and then they observed our style and then they began to mimic our style. And that's why you see today, you see them with cornrows, the jaw, they look just like you. White tees with, Yankee hats, they look just like you today. They dress just like you today. Their hair is just like yours today. Black men are talking about weaves and wigs and whatever, and these chicks are rocking them as well. This woman right here in the middle with the green, that right there looks like a piece. That looks like a piece. She has a bun piece on top right there. You could look around the edges, so it's like, kind of thin right there. So this looks like a bun piece right here that she just, got up on top of it or whatever. For her little sex work, she might be doing, I guess that's an easy hairstyle, but like yeah, they're trying to act like they created hip hop, and what they really did was they brought about graffiti. And real New Yorkers, native New Yorkers, real New Yorkers know that all the trains used to be tagged up. That would be them. They today you see them during the murals. They're still doing what they were doing, but they just changed it over to actually creating murals. Like people die, they might do a mural. Different, celebrities. We had Bruce Lee over here for a long time. I was so mad because it was so dope or whatever, but they took that Bruce Lee down. It was dope. The person who did that was very talented, you know. But that's where they were, really their biggest contribution came from, like the graffiti, the tagging. They loved doing that. And then we were breakdancing. They saw what we were doing and they jumped into that too. They didn't teach us how to breakdance, but they got more into it as we started to evolve because Black people will always switch up. That dance was cool for that time or whatever, but nah, we making a change. We want to do this dance now. So we started to change our dances. You got the Running Man and, the snake and all these, the WAP, all these different dances we begin to start, coming up with or whatever. We wanted different dances for different songs or whatever. So, we evolved from the break dancing thing. We moved away from that. Today overseas is so huge and fascinating, pop locking and all of that. That's not fascinating to us. We grew up seeing that. Our people were already doing that. So the fact that this guy, this rapper dude is going around talking about they, 50-50 created hip hop. I don't know where he get that shit from. And it's so easily debunkable. I wouldn't get too upset about that, but it's just to show you how they don't mind leeching on, to you and what you created to try to boost them up. Meanwhile, they will disrespect your women, disrespect you, talk about how you lazy and don't want to work and stuff like that. Meanwhile, they're getting welfare, food stamps, and they get a little side hustle. They out here chopping up fruit, putting it in cups of water and selling that. The other day I seen this lady, she got Pactaleo, Pactaleo, Pactaleo. Now, if you look down at the shit that she was selling it out of, the cooler was fucking filthy. So I'm saying to myself, how the fuck can you come out and sell food to people with all that dirt and shit on top of the fucking cooler? Pactaleo. Just disgusting. And it's like, where are the people to regulate this shit at? You can't just be cooking shit up. When sisters was in their house cooking food in their homes, in their apartments, cooking foods, and we, decide to buy plates for them for $5 or $4 or $3 a plate to get you a little soda. I specifically remember the city, the Department of Health coming in, shutting sisters down from just selling plates. We had sisters, we had our own ices, and our ices were really good because they would get that Kool-Aid and whatever kind of juice they was using, baby, and the sisters would make them ices. And guess what? They would sell them out the window. So it's not like they were like, okay, y'all little kids come up to my house or whatever, so it could potentially, something happen to a kid or something like that. They would sell them out of the lower floors, out of the windows. So all you had to do was walk up to the window and tell her what kind of icy you wanted, and you would get your icy. And they shut her down. I remember that we was crying. We were crying and we just didn't understand, what did she do so wrong? She's just selling us ices. I remember when sisters getting all this education, all these degrees. I'm a younger, girl. I'm going to school and I'm seeing sisters getting degrees. They graduating from colleges and this and that. And, they had such a hard time breaking through in the corporate world. It was always, could you do something more with your hair? Could you look less ethnic? From these racist white liberals up here today who get to point their fingers at conservatives and talk about the Proud Boys and all this when they were the most vicious, racist pieces of shit and they were voting Democrat. Democratic fucking liberal yuppie voters were the most racist, put you through hell in this city. But they would ride the sisters or whatever. So a lot of black Negro American women decided to, move to other states or whatever. And that's why y'all got these sisters out there and she a powerhouse and they did this and they done created businesses and they on these jobs and they making this money. Well, a lot of those sisters could have been here, but they made it so difficult. So now under de Blasio, when de Blasio was here, he's the one who made that stupid ass hair law, right? But he knows that the majority of the sisters are gone that affected. The people who, could have celebrated that and could have came out and spoke to that and what they had went through and stuff, they've left. I have a friend, both of her and her husband graduated top of his class. Top. She has a bachelor's degree. When they were in this city, they were getting food stamps, driving zip cars, struggling real hard. They went down to Atlanta, and I tell you, within months, the people, of that state appreciated their intelligence. So I'm happy and proud to say that today they have a beautiful home. And this just happened a couple of years ago. That's how fast it happened for them. They just have a daughter. She just graduated from college. So, things are going good. for them soon as they left New York City. Because in this city, they don't want black people to come up. As long as you want to wipe ass, and it's nothing wrong with being a home health aide, but those are the positions that they want you in. Home health aide, CNA, security guard, cashier, and that's about it. You can't even really say cleaner because you can't get in the cleaning business. Even if you start your own, nobody's gonna hire you because you're competing with too many Latin cleaning businesses. So this city is disgusting. They will always shaft black people and Americans, not just the Negro American people, but they will always put Americans to the back. It's and specifically black people, they will push to the back so they could do for others. So that's why I was so happy about having Trump in office, and that's why I continue to advocate and speak up on Trump, because he's the only one who acknowledged us. Nobody else wanted to acknowledge us. They talk about you, they'll bring up Dr. King, and then after they get your energy, they just go do something for somebody else and not you. So, like I said, I was battling a lot. I'm still dealing with the loss of my husband. We were together 21 years. And day by day or whatever. But I'm going through that and trying to transition my son. He graduated from high school, and trying to transition him into his new, program, whatever, which he will work and, learn daily living skills and things like that. And it's a lot to deal with. I'm not a crier. I'm not the type to just break down or whatever. I just take it as it comes, and I look for solutions or whatever. So the solution this time is going to be lawsuits, and hopefully criminal charges follow that as well for the harassment and stalking. That I can prove, because over some time I've been taking pictures. I do have some people's license plate numbers. I do have some people on video. So over time I was able to build that nice little set of evidence. But I would really like to get this guy who made that song so I could crucify his ass and make sure that whatever dime he gets goes to my children. So that's really what this is about. Just to let them know that, hey, while you trying to exploit me, you need to worry about your own people. You need to worry about your women here trying to bring down the feminist movement by selling their hookah all over the place. You need to worry about the heroin addicts in the shot town. Y'all need to look out for them because they over there. Dominicans need to worry about the three top diseases: schistosomiasis, HIV, AIDS, and malaria. They need to get that under control and stop trying to exploit, a black woman for what she has, and move on with your life, because you're not gonna get nowhere with it. I've even had, like I said, I've had YouTubers take shots, talk about pH balance and shit. I don't give a fuck about them saying that. And I realized the reason why I took that video down talking about T-Mal is because I realized that people really don't care. They really don't care. Nobody really wants to help us or whatever like that. And a lot of us don't really want to take the initiative to go. I was trying to arrange, say, hey, let's get together and go out to DC and just, do what we got to do so we could get some help for ourselves. And nobody really kind of wanted to do that. People just kind of are content and complaining and crying and whining or whatever. So that's why I kind of got out of the group, because I'm tired of hearing everybody's story every day. Oh, this happened on the job. This one did this to me. This one did that. But never really saying, okay, enough is enough. We're gonna fight this thing, and we're gonna get government involved to help us or whatever. They don't do that. So, like I said before, I'm living my best life. I'm gonna live my best life. I'm starting a new business. I'm not saying what it is. I'm not gonna use my face, my name, my image, or anything on it or whatever, because these people are stalking and harassing me, and I'm not gonna let them ruin anything for me. I'm not gonna let them ruin anything for me. People who don't have shit at all, you're not gonna ruin anything for me. Um, you know. So this is what's going on in New York. This is going on out here with these people that they keep telling you. Um, are so great and how they contribute so much. Yet our economy is completely broken or whatever. So I just wanted to do that because I'm fully aware that these people love to come on and listen to my commentary. And you like to follow me on the news app that I am. You like to strategically show up in places where I'm at. It's kind of weird, but I'm always prepared. The city is so violent right now. I'm always prepared. I walk out my door thinking that, like, yo, it could happen. Somebody could try to do this, that. So I'm always prepared for what could possibly occur. So keep playing games. Keep playing the song, please do. And that's it for me.